Hello. We know that many families are getting ready to help their children return to school for a few days before the end of the summer, and we understand that there will be mixed feelings about this. As an educational psychology service, we've produced this short presentation, which we hope will be helpful to you in the coming days. There are links to further information at the end. You'll be hearing from two of us in the team, Steve Troe and me, Julia Young. We've separated the presentation into three areas, the ones you can see here on the slide. We know that every child has had different and unique experiences of lockdown, as have parents and carers, and therefore what each child and family will need to do to prepare to return to school is also likely to be different. We think that there may be some things that all children would benefit from, and we've listed these in the slide. Listening to and talking with our children, getting back to some kind of routine, and thinking about possible coping strategies. We'll be talking briefly about each of these. The most important thing to do is to listen to and talk with your child. Try to ask open and optimistic questions such as, how are you feeling about going to school? Or, what are you looking forward to when you go back? What do you think might make you smile when you go back to school? Some children, especially younger ones, might prefer to draw pictures about how they feel. Make sure you offer your child a chance to express any concerns they have. Stick to the facts about coronavirus. Try to be honest in answering questions they may have, and if you don't know, then say so, and maybe help them to find an answer. Try not to feel you must fix any worries they have, but validate and name their feelings, which we know helps. For example, by saying, I can understand you feel worried about going to school. You're not sure you'll be with your friends. It's normal to be worried about that. We're all living with and trying to tolerate uncertainty at the moment. It's okay not to feel okay. Instead of offering a fix or solution, it's good to try to problem solve together. So you might add, I wonder what we can do about that. We all want to reassure our children, and some reassurance is important because it provides children with a sense of security. However, too much reassurance is known to increase anxiety. Modelling calm and hopeful responses will help. Children copy adults. If we're hopeful and optimistic, it will rub off. Structure helps children feel safe and secure. During lockdown, most families will have had some structure to their days, but that may be very different to the one needed now. If we can encourage our children to go to bed and get up at times which will fit with going to school, it will help them feel more prepared and will signal the changes ahead. We know that the quality and amount of sleep we get affects our thinking abilities. If possible, plan ahead and change bedtime so that your child has plenty of time to adapt. Remember the usual tips about getting good sleep, having a bedtime routine which starts at least half an hour before getting into bed. Finding a way to unwind and slow down, putting screens away at least an hour before bedtime, all help towards a good night's sleep. For further advice on sleep, we've offered a link at the end of the presentation. Reverting to our pre-lockdown routine might also involve thinking about what and when our children eat, which also affects their sleep and levels of energy. They certainly won't have access to quite as many snacks at school as they've had at home. If we help our children to manage change and anxiety, these skills will continue to be helpful throughout their lives and they'll become more resilient. Prepare your child for what they should expect to see and experience when they go back into school. Not all children who return into school will feel concerned or anxious, but most may be a little apprehensive about this new normal. Be aware of your child's behaviour. We all communicate through our behaviour, and anxiety can take many guises. If you know your child's worried, then explore with them what would help. For some children, having information and facts is helpful. You could also talk with your child about how they've overcome any worries in the past. What did they try? What worked? All of us experience anxiety. It's a normal part of life, and children need to find ways of managing that in a way that works for them. There are lots of strategies which can help, and there are some links provided at the end. If your child is particularly concerned about going into school, then you should make sure that their teacher is aware of this.
Lots of different feelings around at the moment. And we know that many parents and carers are likely to be feeling quite anxious about the return to school for their children. There's a lot of anxiety and concerns about at the moment, and you're not alone. Remember, thinking everyone else is doing fine isn't going to be true. You may be feeling worried about separation, particularly after having been together with your child or children for quite a time. And of course, for some, remaining at home may be what is best for you at the moment. Anxiety is a master of disguise. It can show itself in many different ways, some which may not seem obvious, such as being angry or hiding away. It's worth remembering that some anxiety or worry can actually be helpful for us, and it can, at times, motivate us to get on with something or help to bring people together. Try to be aware of your worries. Is your child or children picking up on these? As Julia said earlier, acknowledge the feelings that they may be talking about. It's helpful to model the behaviour that you want your child or children to show. Act in ways that you would like them to act too. It's the do as I do principle. It's helpful for our children to see us as being like a swan, calm and graceful, though you may be paddling hard under the water. Do your best to be hopeful about the return to school and the future. Focus on positives, seeing friends, meeting teachers, and so on. Talk positively about school too. It's important to be prepared and plan ahead, rather than trying to sort things out mid-crisis. Remember, you don't teach a drowning man how to swim. Plan ahead for what you could do, and do this planning when things are calm. Have a plan for what you might do if things don't go as you might hope. Research does suggest that those who make plans for what to do when things don't go well tend to have fewer actual difficulties than those who don't plan for possible problems. Things won't always go right. Don't try to fix things in the moment of crisis. Rebuilding can be done later. If there's been a difficulty, afterwards reflect on it and be like an inquisitive detective. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What might I have missed? How did things play out? What signs could I pick up on? How can I do things better next time? These are opportunities for us to learn and develop. So, if there is a problem afterwards, do remember to forgive yourself and move on. We're fully aware that it won't be easy to undo all the things that have changed as a result of lockdown. For example, bedtimes or routine shifting around or more screen time for children. We recognise it might be hard to shift this back. It'll take time. Be curious about what is going on for your child or children. You can support them by doing some simple activities together to help rebuild the routines. For example, brushing your teeth together or just physically being with them. And remember, small steps. Schools, the staff, the teachers, the cleaners, the heads, people from the local authority are all doing all they can to ensure that things are as safe as possible for children to return to school. There's been lots of planning, working together, and it's all in the best interests of the safety and well-being of the children and young people and school staff. Let's not forget, teachers are looking forward to the children coming back. The children have certainly been missed. The interactions and relationships in school will be different too. Social distancing, of course, will be in place, and there'll be lots of hand washing and things like that taking place. Think positively about it. It will be a chance for you and your child or children to have some sort of reconnecting with school and school life. Do some research. Find out what the school's transition plan is. What's going to happen? Are there any videos you could watch on social media? Read any materials that school have sent out, helping you prepare for the return. Communicate useful things to school too. Is your child quite anxious? Have they been feeling low? Has there been any bereavement perhaps? Who's the best person to talk to in school? Probably the teacher, but it could be somebody else. We hope this has been useful. There are some links here to other things that you might find helpful, some videos to watch and things to read, as well as the Monmouthshire Educational Psychology Service little website bit. In summary then, listen, talk, validate and name feelings, your child or your children's, and your own of course. Try to build some structure and routine into your day if you can. Model the feelings and behaviours that you want your child or children to show or do. Plan ahead and prepare for things. Focus on positives as much as you can. And please, stay safe and know that we're here. Take care. Thank you.